War on Terror, an NBC News exclusive. An al-Qaeda insider held at a secret location giving up details of new terror plots. Race against time, a setback in the rescue effort to save those 9 trapped coal miners in Pennsylvania. Families hold out hope against the odds. Murder mystery among the elite at Fort Bragg. In just 6 weeks, the wives of 4 soldiers killed, the prime suspects, their husbands. Questions tonight about stress and the military. And Lifeline, a brave new world for Alzheimer's patients. A tiny chip could mean the difference between being lost and found.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. There is very little progress to report tonight in the story of the trapped coal miners. We'll be going there in a few moments, but we want to begin tonight with an NBC News exclusive. A young man who grew up in Canada is now in a secret location in the United States where reportedly he is sharing critical secrets about the workings and the plans of al-Qaeda, the terrorist network. How does he know? He allegedly was a member of an al-Qaeda cell and deeply involved in planning operations. Here's NBC's Pete Williams.
At a U.S. military base in the Northeast, American officials are secretly holding a Canadian man who they say has admitted directing an al-Qaeda plan to blow up the American embassy and other government buildings in Singapore, even making this home video of the potential targets. Officials say the man, who was known to members of a Singapore terrorist cell only as Sammy, is actually Mohammed Mansour Jabara, just 20 years old. But they describe his capture and recent arrival in the U.S. as an important breakthrough. Authorities tell NBC News that Jabara is now cooperating, providing new information about al-Qaeda's operations, including terrorist plans drawn up since the September 11th attacks on the U.S. At the request of U.S. officials who cite concerns for Jabara's safety, NBC News has agreed to withhold the exact military installation where he's being held. U.S. and Singapore authorities broke up the terror cell last December, exposing the plot to blow up the American and Israeli embassies, as well as offices of the British and Australian governments and commercial buildings housing American companies. They say Jabara ordered members of the cell to buy 17 tons of ammonium nitrate fertilizer for truck bombs, the kind of material used by Timothy McVeigh to blow up the Oklahoma City Federal Building. But just before the cell members were rounded up, Jabara escaped. He was arrested earlier this year in Oman. Singapore's ambassador to the U.S. says there's little doubt that Jabara was behind the plot.
I believe he directed these members, teaching them how to construct bombs, help pushing them to procure material for bomb construction.
Jabara, whose parents split their time between Kuwait and Canada, grew up in this house in Ontario near Niagara Falls. Investigators say none of Jabara's family was involved in his terror activities. A neighbor tells NBC News that Jabara's father asked her to attend his family's mosque after the 9/11 attacks.
He wanted us to get to know them better and not to have fear of the family because of the September 11th terrorist attacks, and just to learn more about their culture.
Law enforcement officials say Jabara now faces terrorism charges, but has agreed to testify in future trials of suspected al-Qaeda members, valued as an insider both before and after the September hijackings. Pete Williams, NBC News at the Justice Department.
And as Congress and the President prepare to leave Washington for their August vacations, the fight over how to staff that massive new Department of Homeland Security, the largest new government agency in decades, is shaping up as a major showdown. NBC's Campbell Brown is at the White House for us tonight. Campbell, what's the latest there?
Well, Tom, the president is playing tough with Senate Democrats, threatening to veto the massive Homeland Security bill if the Senate version passes. At issue are rights for federal workers. What the president is demanding is flexibility to manage the new department, the right to hire, fire, and promote workers by bypassing certain union rules. He says it's in the interest of national security, and he made that case here at the White House today.
In a time of war is the wrong time to weaken the president's ability to protect the American people.
But Democrats argue Republicans are using national security as an excuse to strip federal workers of rights they now have. The Senate could vote on this as early as next week, and despite the disagreement, Congress hopes to have the final bill to the president by September 11th. Tom?
Thanks very much, NBC's Campbell Brown tonight. Now to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. That's home, of course, to this country's elite special forces, the unconventional warfare units that have played such a major role in the war on terrorism. Today, some very disturbing news from Fort Bragg. The wives of 4 soldiers have been murdered in the past 6 weeks, and in all 4 cases, their husbands are accused of the killings. NBC's Don Teague at Fort Bragg tonight.
The soldiers of Fort Bragg on the front lines in the war on terror. Tonight, 2 are behind bars charged with murdering their wives. 1 stabbed 50 times. 2 others committed suicide after killing their wives, including Sergeant First Class Brandon Floyd and wife Andrea.
It all seemed normal, seemed fine. He would come by sometime to take her to lunch.
6 deaths in 6 weeks. Sheriff Earl Butler says he's never seen anything like it.
They're trained people. That's their job, is to go to Afghanistan to fight and to protect their own lives as well as those that they're with and the people that's there. So I think the nature of their training has a lot to do with this type of killings.
We're surprised and saddened by the unusual number of deaths and are concerned about the children that are left behind.
3 of the murders involved soldiers just back from Afghanistan. Could the stress of combat be a factor?
It really causes us to look at what we have, what we're doing right now, to see if we can't be doing something better.
C.J. Maulson is an Army wife who volunteers in women's shelters. She says combat soldiers sometimes have a hard time readjusting.
When you're amped up like that all the time, you know, and ready to do battle.
Sometimes soldiers cross the line to violence. The trigger, something as dramatic as a cheating spouse or as simple as unpaid bills. Officials don't know if any of the victims had taken part in available counseling programs, but Army Chaplain Jerome Haberick says the answer could be right next door.
To take care of one another. That's the message I would send out to our families and our soldiers.
Fighting the pressures of combat and fighting to keep families together. Don Teague, NBC News, Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
And in Pennsylvania, in the coal country tonight, high anxiety after a new setback for rescuers racing against time to save 9 trapped miners. The official line continues to be, we're still hopeful, but it's been 2 days now, and there's still a long way to go. NBC's Robert Hager remains on the scene for us again tonight. Bob?
Tom, a frustrating day. No more tapping sounds of life heard from below, and rescuers aren't much closer to where they believe the miners are than they were last night. Over the mine, a drill shaft grinds down through heavy rock at a rate of 15 feet an hour, and pumps lower the water level substantially in the flooded tunnels below. Pennsylvania Governor Mark Schweiker.
Mechanically, humanly, intellectually, technologically, we are doing everything that can be done.
But there have been major problems trying to reach the spot where rescuers hope the trapped miners may still survive in a pocket of air 250 feet down. The first effort to drill a big rescue hole had to be suspended overnight when just 105 feet down, the drill's bit broke. That forced rescuers to begin anew 75 feet away, drilling a second rescue hole. It was, the governor said, like starting almost from scratch.
We are where we were last night.
But late today, drillers jiggled and prodded the equipment and finally hauled up the broken bit to get that first drill going again. While other rescue schemes were considered but rejected as impractical or too risky, such as trying to send Navy divers in from the mine's front entrance.
To try to go in from the portal, we're talking approximately a mile, and that's just not a feasible option. I don't even think it's practical or possible.
But the Navy is standing by with decompression tanks in case the miners are brought out alive.
The engineers estimate that the pressure down there where the miners are is approximately the same as 40 feet underwater.
In the tiny mining hamlet of Key Creek, where this drama is playing out, villagers are stunned. Everyone knows the trapped miners, like Dale Miller.
I worked with about half of them that's in there.
Mike Zanoni, in the mines himself for 40 years.
You know when you go in, but you never know when you're coming out.
Postal worker Beverly Mort.
It's not in our hands, it's in God's hands.
Signs along the highway here urge residents to pray. The plan is to drill through the night, which, if there are no more problems, might get the big rescue holes near the crucial spot where the miners may be toward dawn tomorrow. Tom?
Thanks very much, NBC's Robert Hager tonight in Pennsylvania. Up next, NBC News in Depth tonight, our special series, take the money and run. When the stock market was roaring, no one made out better than corporate CEOs. The staggering numbers and the consequences for ordinary investors. Later, Lifeline, as millions struggle with Alzheimer's, some creative new ways to cope.
Imagine combining the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and freshening power of Listerine. You'd get Efferdent Plus. It's extra fresh, and nothing gets your dentures cleaner. Efferdent Clean, Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
Have you tried Rolaids' 2 great new flavors? They're tropical, cool, smooth, new tropical punch, and cool strawberry. Taste these great new flavors. Call 1-800-ROLAIDS for a free sample.
There is a rhythm to life. We sleep at night and wake in the morning. It's this sleep cycle that helps keep us in a healthy balance. But for millions of Americans, sleep doesn't always come easy. Fortunately, there's Ambien. Ambien is a prescription sleep aid that can help you get a full night's sleep. While natural sleep is best, Ambien helps you fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and wake rested and refreshed, not groggy the next morning. No wonder Ambien is the #1 prescribed sleep aid in America. Until you know how Ambien will affect you, you shouldn't drive or operate machinery. Side effects may include drowsiness, dizziness, and diarrhea. You shouldn't take it with alcohol. Patients who abuse prescription sleep aids may become dependent. Prescription sleep aids are most often taken for 7 to 10 days as needed. Your doctor will advise you about taking them longer. Take Ambien only when you can devote a full 7 to 8 hours to sleep and wake rested and ready to start your day. Talk to your doctor about Ambien. Ambien works like a dream.
The all-new 2003 Lincoln Navigator. There are those who travel, and those who travel well. On an all-new Dateline Friday.
Hey, little buddy.
With kidnapping all over the news, how safe are your children? Our hidden cameras tested kids approached by a stranger.
Have you seen this little dog?
How to protect your family.
You can pull almost any child through a car window.
An all-new Dateline tonight at 8/7 Central on NBC.
NBC News in depth tonight, the economy, corporate scandals, and company leaders getting rich by failing. Today, the White House announced the president will conduct an economic forum in Waco, Texas, during his August break, bringing together industry leaders, workers, and small business owners. This Sunday night at 7, I'll report on a major part of the current scandal, CEOs getting rich for failing. We call the program Take the Money and Run. Not so long ago, the stock market was booming. The Dow was almost 12,000, NASDAQ more than 5,000. Few cared about how much CEOs were paid. Everyone seemed to be getting rich. But even by their own lofty standards, CEOs were living the high life.
It wasn't enough to have a nice car. You also needed a nice plane.
CNBC's Ron Insana. There was a climate, especially among CEOs, about who could get richer faster.
Faster was a big thing in the 1990s. We saw 25-year-old men and women make $1 billion in a couple of years.
And in addition to money, there were other perks. Global Crossing and Gary Winnick, for example, donated millions to politicians across the country, including a pledge of a reported $1 million to the Clinton Library. And with that came access.
The President of the United States, and Gary Winnick.
Winnick reveled in his newfound celebrity, whether it was hosting a luncheon for then-President Bill Clinton or playing golf with the leader of the free world. He even attended the 100th birthday celebration for the late Queen Mother. Although access was good, money was better, still the measure of the man, and CEOs were making gobs of it.
In the 1990s, we saw new extremes of CEO compensation compared to the salary of the average worker. We've never seen a gap this big.
Their view of the world is that if I'm the highest paid, that must mean I'm the best.
Rafe Crystal writes about corporate compensation. He says that in 1973, CEOs of large corporations were paid about 45 times more than the average worker in their companies. In 1991, the ratio rose to 145 times more. Last year, it approached a staggering 500 times more than the average employee earns.
There's almost no relationship at all between what a CEO earns and the performance of the company.
In fact, some CEOs still are making millions at a time when their companies are failing and investors are getting wiped out.
Even when thousands of their employees are being laid off, they still pay themselves huge amounts of money.
44-year-old Bob Bowles of Cartersville, Georgia, was laid off from his job about 18 months ago. He had worked for the bankrupt telecommunications giant WorldCom in technical support for 16 years. Now that WorldCom's filed for bankruptcy, Bowles is struggling for a secure financial future. Bob Bowles tonight, in his own words.
In 16 years of blood, sweat, and tears, I lived and I breathed the company. When this accounting scandal came to light and the price of the stock hit rock bottom, my retirement plan, which at one point was worth nearly $250,000, is now not worth a flip nickel. I'm not one of those that can stand the thought of being in the welfare line or expecting someone to take care of me. I'll go out there and do it myself. I have a business that I build custom computers and networks.
I've spent a lifetime looking.
This is Big T's Karaoke Review and Road Show. My name's Bob. I do karaoke shows 3 nights a week. I also work part-time for Domino's Pizza. I'm struggling, week to week. We're just squeaking by.
Nothing but the truth.
These people have to be held accountable. Even if they serve time in jail, when they get out of jail, Mr. Sullivan's going to have his mansion on the beach. And that's not right. It's just not right.
Based upon my Fifth Amendment right to the United States.
The point is, I don't want him to have it. Put it up on the market, sell it, take the money, and divide it up between those of us that have been impacted. Hopefully, we'll find another job soon and not have to do the things that I'm doing now, but...
She's a good girl, huh?
I'm starting at the beginning of the road again.
In Sunday night's program, we'll have critical analysis from Warren Buffett. Bob Bowles tonight, who used to work for WorldCom, in his own words. Up next, the latest on how the markets did today.
We're pulling over a plumber's truck.
Sir, step out of the truck, please. Is there a problem, officer?
Keep your hands down there, sweetheart.
Well, well, well. This is suspicious. But I'm a plumber. So what's a plumber doing with professional strength liquid plumber clog remover? I admit it, I've used it on backed up sinks. That's pretty serious. Oh, yeah. You pour it in. It's like a missile. It cuts right through the water to deliver some serious power to that clog. Pow! Clog's gone. Professional strength liquid plumber on tough clogs. Don't get caught without it. Donut?
That's not funny.
Use an ordinary pain rub on your arthritis and everyone knows it. Use odor-free Aspercreme instead and get clinically proven fast-acting pain relief no one knows about but you. Aspirin-free Aspercreme. Fast pain relief no one knows about but you.
Meet the competition. Your kids' friends. They can be a big influence on your kids. And when you're not there, you never know. So know who your kids' friends are. And talk to your kids about things like cigarettes. So they'll be ready if the competition brings it up.
You guys want a cigarette? No.
Talk to your kids about not smoking. They'll listen.
I want to go get something to eat.
Less paperwork, only from Bank of America.
Butterball brings you the joys of Turkey Day. Friends and family drop in to bask in the warmth of the season. Celebrate this summer with Butterball turkey on the grill. Tender, juicy, surprisingly simple. Happy Thanks Grilling from Butterball.
Alert. You have reached the end of the internet. You have seen everything there is to see. Please go back. Now.
Experience the joy of DirecTV DSL. Call now and pay only $29.99 per month for your first 3 months. Call 1-800-BEST-DSL now.
I thought you were surfing the internet.
Yeah, I finished it.
A close call for 3 members on board a FedEx cargo jet today. It crashed and burst into flames just short of the runway in Tallahassee, Florida. None of the crew was seriously injured. A very different story, however, for some of the cargo paperwork of candidates trying to meet a filing deadline to run for public office. After the crash, Governor Jeb Bush of Florida extended that deadline. Now to Wall Street. It was an upbeat ending to a crazed week. The Dow today was up 78 points. NASDAQ gained 22 points. For the week, the Dow is up more than 245 points. That's the 3% gain. NASDAQ, however, was down 57 points in the week. That's more than 4% of its value. With all the attention on the bear market these past few weeks, experts were surprised today by a new survey of consumer sentiment. Here's NBC's Ann Thompson.
Despite weeks of bad news from Wall Street, today Deborah and Ben Sinkus bought a $3,000 big screen TV.
This is a short-term purchase, and the stock market is there for the long term.
That attitude reflected in today's University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey. Consumers surprisingly optimistic about things as they are now, but worried the decline in the market will hurt the economy in the future.
Consumers think that it's lowered the willingness of business firms to invest in expansion and job creation, and so they think their job and income prospects are slightly worse now.
Curtin expects Americans to save more, but so far Jim Rothera sees no indication they will spend less at his appliance store outside Boston.
If you have a washing machine that doesn't work and you have a pile of clothes 3 feet deep, you're not going to look at your 401k and say, can I afford to buy the washing machine?
The resilience of consumers might seem surprising because half have money in the market. But consider this, more than 2/3 of Americans own their own homes, still the most important source of consumer wealth.
Consumers just have a much higher ability to spend the money out of their house than they do out of the stock market.
And with interest rates at new lows, economists anticipate another surge in refinancing, giving consumers more money to spend.
Which double oven would you buy?
But Betty Little and Duncan Robertson are not spending as much because of a $75,000 loss in WorldCom stock.
We're going to redecorate our own condominium and just not look for a house right now.
The American consumer is still spending, but perhaps saving more to weather the downturn in the market. Ann Thompson, NBC News, New York.
I'll be right back with some good news for those with Alzheimer's, creative new ways to cope.
NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw, brought to you in part by Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Not too close. What do you think? I got that insurance?
What insurance is that, Yogi?
Aflac. The one you really need to have. If you don't have it, that's why you need it.
Need what?
Aflac. Well, if you get hurt and miss work, it won't hurt to miss work. And they give you cash, which is just as good as money.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
You never accepted anything just because someone said so. So why are you just accepting that as you get older, it's normal to run to the bathroom 8 or more times a day? It isn't. It could be overactive bladder, a medical condition that can interrupt your sleep and your life, even embarrass you. But it doesn't have to. Because once a day, Ditropan XL is clinically proven to help control overactive bladder for 24 hours. If you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, you should not take Ditropan XL. In studies, the most common side effect was dry mouth. Other side effects may include constipation, drowsiness, blurred vision, dizziness, diarrhea, and nausea. Talk to your healthcare professional about Ditropan XL. Ditropan XL. There are some things you don't have to accept.
Lesson 1. It's important to manage the growth of a large breed puppy.
because a large breed puppy grows up to 10 times faster than a small breed puppy. His body can even grow faster than his frame and stress-developing bones and joints. That's why Purina One brand is scientifically formulated to help manage your large breed puppy's growth, so his body doesn't outgrow his frame. Large breed puppy formula from Purina One. For a lean, active, and healthy dog, one can make a difference.
Now you can help manage your diabetes anytime, anywhere. This is Glucerna, an ideal food for people with diabetes. Have a new snack bar like delicious cranberry orange, a new meal bar like chocolate peanut, or enjoy a rich, creamy shake. Glucerna has the right balance of carbohydrates, fat, and protein. It's designed to help manage glucose levels. Free your mind for other things. Try Glucerna. It's time for a taste of freedom.
Oregon wildfires are quickly burning up resources and manpower, but reinforcements are on the way. New at 6, go inside training camp as the National Guard prepares to hit the fire's front lines. And we've seen what he can do, but now this former Duck is showing the pros what he's made of. A live report from Detroit, tonight at 6 on News Channel 8.
On Lifeline tonight, Alzheimer's disease. At a conference on the subject in Stockholm this week, one expert predicted there will be 16 million Alzheimer's patients in the U.S. by mid-century. And as NBC's national correspondent Jim Avila reports tonight, those with the debilitating disease at the moment are getting some big help from a small chip.
Tom DiBaggio is in his 4th year of life with Alzheimer's. A former newspaper reporter, he copes with the forgetfulness and frustration of his brain disease by posting notes all over his house.
It's not a pleasant thing to watch. It's not a pleasant thing to have.
Reminders about what he should eat at mealtime, what kind of utensils he'll need for lunch, notes about medicines, and even who might visit him.
I usually say, it's better to do it on the phone because I won't remember you're coming.
Tom's years of experience as a writer are still paying off. He's the only Alzheimer's patient who's written a book about his own dementia.
There was a time when I went to the bookstore. Went down, got in the car, drove down the street and got to the highway. I don't know why I was there all of a sudden.
That, say Alzheimer's patients and their families, is their worst fear, the wandering, unable to tell police where they belong, or doctors what's wrong with them. That was certainly the fear of Nate Isaacson and his family, and why he underwent outpatient surgery to implant a new computer chip into his body, a human barcode, a ½ inch long, 1/10 inch wide, placed beneath the skin on the shoulder blade. Were Nate to get lost or disoriented, emergency room workers could then use scanners to read the chip, which contains vital information.
He wouldn't remember our phone numbers or how to contact any of our family. And so having